I have two questions for you. First of all, as a Canadian entrepreneur, do you believe that you need to expand internationally in order to thrive or even survive in today's business environment? And secondly, what is the niche that you see for your business in the global marketplace? Thank you.
So let's start with you, Joan.
We recognize that Canada was a very small market, and it was never going to be a significant part of our future. And therefore, we early on decided that globalization was critically important to us. And we observed that if we were able to support well in China, Taiwan, Korea, and the Philippines, that there would be no reason that we couldn't enter into, for example, India, which was the next continent that we decided to expand into. So what our message is when we go globally is that we can, in fact, create jobs. So we feel that our technology is the best for digital communication, and that communication is not only when it comes to feature film and television, but we've been able to move down the food chain and repurpose our technology for education and, of course, online business. And in our sense, each of those countries have hundreds of stations waiting to come on board that need content, and every school is struggling with how do you keep particularly young boys in school, and we think we've got the answer to that, which is entertain them while they're doing their schoolwork.
And we read in the study that Quebecois entrepreneurs see this as a big risk, going global. In your opinion, is it such a big risk? You seem to be thriving globally.
I think there's very little risk. The main thing is that you have to be willing to be on the ground. We have to have staff that can travel, that can train trainers, train on the job, etc. The big challenge you have, in fact, is finding employees that are willing to travel, are willing to go to different countries, are willing to give up their free time. But it's a very interesting work. It's dynamic. You get to work in a multicultural environment. And for us, frankly speaking, we wouldn't be here today if we hadn't gone global.
Ce qui arrive, c'est que dans notre métier à nous, avec les changements dans le domaine de la santé, si on a trouvé une façon de servir la clientèle, ça peut s'exporter. On ne peut pas exporter sa personnalité, mais on peut exporter sa façon de servir le public. J'ai fait ça avec les États-Unis. On s'est fait un devoir de dire que j'avais manqué mon coup. Un bout de temps, avec les États-Unis et le Canada, on avait au-dessus de 100 000 employés. Et puis là, il y a une chose qui est bien importante. Quand on fait une acquisition, on se prépare comme il faut, but make it fast. Et là, j'ai appris une grave leçon. Mes voisins, mes compétiteurs, se sont fait un devoir d'aller chercher my best pharmacist and at the same time my best manager. And even if you're buying a name, every name is done like un chandail. Maille par maille. Every pharmacy, they have a Superman or a Supergirl there. Et ça, dans n'importe quel business, mondialisation, globalisation, ou simplement national, ou même provincial, la qualité du personnel, c'est le numéro un. You're extraordinary, he's extraordinary, but without people surrounding you, you cannot do it all by yourself.
For us, the globalization impacts us on a number of different areas. On one side, we imported a business model from a global basis. Also, much of our seed capital came from Europe because they also had a background and they had seen the success of the model. From a practical point of view, 50% of our revenue as a company is in the United States. 60% of the product that we sell is sourced out of the United States. Another 20% comes out of Europe. So in order for us to be successful and, in fact, service our home market, we had no choice very early on but to expand into the United States from an operations point of view. So we opened up about a year and a half ago a sourcing office in New York. 2 of our 6 senior executives are U.S.-based. We just opened up a fulfillment center in Las Vegas. So one of the things that we recognized was in order to properly service the Canadian marketplace, we had to become a leader and a serious player in the U.S. 70% of our revenue comes from people who bought from us at least once before. So we're a repeat business. That's our whole business is about people coming back. The threshold, the bar for Canadian consumers is set, I can tell you, far lower than what it is in the United States. You offer the exact same service levels in the U.S. and Canada, and your satisfaction levels in Canada are going to be 3x what they are in the United States. And I think we found the same thing about being an active retailer in the United States, that the bar is set here. Consumers, Zappos, Amazon, eBay, they've set the bar here. If you bring that to Canada, then I think you'll be successful. Otherwise, you're just waiting for Target and Nordstrom's and all these other guys to show up and eat your lunch.